views and circumstances of others, strength to seek what we believe in, humility to accept the combined decisions of others, patience, good humour at all times, tolerance and courtesy while working in the best interests of the community. I have received apologies from Councillors Dick Quacks, Sharon Stewart, John Watson and Alf Filipina, and from Councillor Whanana Efeso Collins for lateness. Are there any other apologies? If not, I move the apologies be received. Declarations of interest.
I'll second.
Second that.
I'll second.
Sorry, yep, seconded. I just made that assumption.
Carried.
All those in favour, please say aye. To the
Aye.
contrary, no. Carried. Declarations of interest. Are there any councillors that need to alert us to any conflict of interest? Not. Minutes, special meeting, so there is no confirmation of minutes. No acknowledgements today, no petitions today, no request for public input or local board input, and no notification of extraordinary business, which brings us to the last and significant, second to last and most significant part of the agenda, which is the annual budget. Councillors, you'll be aware that we have canvassed the content of the budget quite extensively in workshop sessions. Today I'm not going to ask officials to speak to the document. I think you're all familiar with it. They are, however, available to answer questions if there are any outstanding questions. In the meantime, I will formally put the recommendation, and I am required legally to put the first part of the recommendation, which I have in front of me here, separately and first, which is that the governing body adopt the supporting information for the annual plan 2017-2018. Councillor Clow has seconded that. Is there any discussion on that particular aspect? If not, I shall put that recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no. Carried. The other recommendations are as set out. Broadly, I'm not reading it word for word, that we adopt the consultation document, that we adopt the draft Tupuna Monga operational plan, that we delegate responsibility to the Mayor and Chair of Finance and Performance Committee in order to finalise the document and make any minor edits that may be required, that we, keeps moving on me, approve the public consultation approach which is set out with the timeline in the document, and that's the full recommendations. So have I a seconder for those recommendations? The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Cashmore. Right, we shall now open it up first for questions from officials and then for broader discussion and debate should that be required. Now this may be optimistic, but there has already been quite extensive discussion in workshops on this, but that is not to deny any councillor the right to make a contribution. The document is the document that is going out for consultation. In the documentation that will be sent out, it is noted that these recommendations do not have the unanimous approval of all members, which reserves the right for councillors at a subsequent point to vote for or against the recommendations, but that all councillors believe that these are significant issues that are worthy of discussion with the public. And the critical desire I think we all have is that these receive wide coverage and that there be every opportunity for public input into our annual plan and budget. But if I can first of all see if any councillor has questions that they would like to ask during the governing body. Councillor Casey.
I didn't ask it at the workshop, but I did raise it with staff after the workshop, and that was to have some reference to the Tupuna Manga Authority's report in the consultation document. It is in the supporting documentation, but there's only a paragraph in the report, and in the questions and answers, there was an opportunity maybe at the last bit. Any other feedback? It could have been mentioned in there. It's just that if you actually want to let people know it's there, it probably needs more than it's got at the moment.
Matthew.
I'll just ask Kylie to respond.
The reference to the Maunga is on page 24, the paragraph.
No,
Consultation
I
document.
know that. It's the last page where we're asking, inviting comment. It could be mentioned again just so people remember it's in there, because it's only one paragraph that refers to the supporting information in the supporting documents. It was just, it's a really important document. It's great.
So can I just clarify? I think we'd be comfortable. So is the request, so under any other feedback, you'd just
For
like
example.
a call out to including any feedback on the Maunga
Yeah,
plan?
yeah,
So
that would be great.
we're comfortable.
Yep. So
It's great.
no problem with that. I now have Councillor Wayne Walker.
Sure. Just have a question which won't be a surprise for you, and that's just contained in the consultation document going out. And I'm just looking at the page, which is page 9, and the preferred option is indicated as the use of targeted rates, and I just seek some confirmation, and I see it is mentioned here that we are going to actively pursue new funding tools with the government, particularly those that require changes in legislation around value capture, municipal utility district bonds, tax increment funding, and obviously there are other things that we're looking for, especially in the transport area, that could include a regional fuel tax, for example.
Yes. Yeah, we took on board the comments that I think it was you made, Councillor Walker, at the workshop, and said that that what we are seeking to do is to do what we have within our authority at the moment, which is to work through targeted rates, but that we will also be raising with government a range of other options that may in fact in quantum be very significant. And the example that you've raised of a regional fuel tax is pretty critical. It would raise something in the order of $150 million if it was premised on a 10 cents a litre increase over petrol and diesel. And clearly that would be critical if we were to bridge the gap in the Auckland Transport Alignment Project, which is $4 billion over the 10 years. So that it's not an either or, it's a both and, but in this, the annual plan, right at the start of our term of council, we need to get on and do immediately what we're empowered to do. So I think we've taken on board your point.
Agree totally. I wouldn't like the government to think that we're letting them off the hook.
You can be sure that I won't let them think that, Councillor. Councillor Simpson.
Sorry. I've got a question on the public consultation on E. Can we confirm that there will be a Have Your Say event or a public event in every ward?
I understand there's going to be 17 that we are organising, but that may mean, for example, that there is not one in Great Barrier, and maybe one or two other areas, but I'll ask Matthew for clarification on that, or officials.
I believe there are some local boards that have chosen not to have a Have Your Say event.
And that's a matter of choice of the local board, is it?
So that's kind of my question. You would think that you'd want to have some sort of public meeting in every area, and because I've heard that there are some local boards that maybe don't want to do this, and I'm kind of challenging that really. I mean, we're here to ask Auckland their opinion. I know it's going to every letterbox, but surely I'm asking through you, Mr. Chair, that potentially that this body strongly, if we can strongly suggest, if we can more than strongly suggest, if we can make sure it's part of our consultation that we're asking that, you know, wards do have one public event? Or are you comfortable that it just goes through the letterbox? I mean,
Well, it'll do more than, thank you for the point, I think it's a valid point. It'll do more than go through the letterbox. You know, we have a range of different
Okay,
ways,
sorry,
including
okay.
using the website for it. I'm not sure what the past tradition has been, but generally if a local board is reluctant to use that aspect of the consultation and may wish to put greater emphasis on other aspects of the consultation, I presume that has been a matter left up to the local boards. That, however, does not prevent any councillor around this table from holding a consultation meeting in their own right.
so do we have budget for that? If we had to hire something?
That's a point I'll direct to officials. The answer is yes, if there is a hall hireage cost and it doesn't involve caviar and champagne, I'm sure we would meet reasonable costs.
Thank you.
I wasn't thinking of Oraki ward at all, Councillor Simpson, in relation to that. Councillor Newman.
Mr. Chair, my question is a procedural one relating to the diaries. I'm not sure if the Chief Executive can answer this, but obviously since the long-term plan was adopted in June 2015, changes have had to be made to the operational expenditure and efficiency savings in the annual budget. We're going to have to do more of that moving forward, obviously with given the change in the rate increase position as proposed. So my question would be, at what stage after the 27th of March are we going to be scheduling some times for the governing body and the local boards to negotiate through any savings that are going to have to be found in the budget to ensure that we achieve our savings position, understanding that this is actually a matter for the elected membership and not just a delegation to the officers?
Ask Matthew to reply to that, please.
So through the chair, just towards the back of the item, you'll see a table under next steps, and you'll see a range of opportunities in both April and May, where we're fully expecting to come back to this table, to also include the local board chairs at this table. The organisation will complete an internal budget refresh through February and March,
Yes.
and we will absolutely be bringing back through April and then leading into decision making in May, exactly the budget position refreshed at that point for the organisation.
And have those times been blocked out for at least the chairs of the local boards so that they're aware of this? Because I know that members' diaries are looking quite full. I'm sure that the local board chairs have got these times in their diaries blocked out as well to ensure that they can participate.
So we have made provision for that, and we'll,
And that's through April and May, is it?
correct.
Okay.
Next question, Councillor Mike Lee.
Good afternoon, and my apologies for lateness, Mr Mayor and members. My question relates to the process. Over recent years, the emphasis has been on more and more informal, I guess, have your say meetings. And they've been reasonably successful, except from my point of view, somewhat choreographed in terms of how the discussion is guided. However, I've had some complaints that the formal submission process or formal meeting in which ratepayers can present a submission and be questioned by the governing body members altogether have fallen by the wayside, and I think that's something of a gap in our process and something that we need to look at. I just wonder whether there's an opportunity to fit a meeting like that into our annual plan process.
We do have a full day booked in on the 20th of March with key stakeholders, which will be a traditional style where they'll come here and talk to all of the governing body members.
So ordinary members of the public can come along and speak to their submission?
No, that's
That'll be
just
good.
key
Thank you.
stakeholders.